Hello, McFluffy52 here, back with more Magic the Gathering Arena action. Today we're playing a Temur ramp deck all about tokens that tap for mana. It's very similar to the kind of Doppelgang decks you would see. We're using Overlord of the Hauntwoods that makes token lands, Roxanne that can make token artifacts that tap for mana and also deal 2 damage when they enter, as well as 3 Steps Ahead and Ancient Cornucopia that we can make token copies of Ancient Cornucopia using 3 Steps Ahead middle ability to then go ahead and cast for the common good and make a bunch of token copies of those, make a bunch of mana, and then make a bunch of meteorites and eventually kill our opponent by doing 2 damage to their face a bunch of times. So that's kind of the idea of the deck. We do have Invasion of Arcavios that can allow us to dig into the sideboard, grab a Doppelgang, and then we can copy the Invasion of Arcavios and kind of go off that kind of way. We have some cheap interactions to deal with mono red and other decks. Into the Flood Maul can bounce the mono red creature, or Torch the Tower can kill it and exile it. Claw Patch Formation deals with flying creatures and enchantments. We have a Braid for artifacts, creatures, negate to just kind of stop shenanigans, deuce, because we're gonna have a bunch of mana, and so leaving around a clue that can allow us to draw another card later on is helpful. Playing the new Thornspire Verge to help us with our mana, and that's kind of the deck. Let's go ahead and hop some games and see how we can do on the rank ladder. Alright, this hand looks okay because they have some card draw, but we don't have any cheap interactions, so if our opponent's playing a super aggro deck, we're probably going to fold. But anyways, if you enjoy these kinds of videos, I always forget to say this in timely fashion, but consider subscribing. If you think this deck's cool, consider subscribing. And yeah, hop in some games. I'm currently 7-4 with the deck. I was playing later in the evening, and usually I feel like there's less competitive people playing at that time, and so you end up playing against more unique kinds of decks, and so I think we had a bit of more of an advantage than if we were constantly being shown mono red. So interested to see who we were today. We're gonna pulse. Okay, our opponent finally decided on what they're going to keep or mulligan. We can go ahead and play out this. I do like having Roxanne Starfall Savant, but I would like to find some green sources. Playing a lot of these cool lands, which are kind of helpful for Alright, well, a little bit of a unfortunate draw here. Opponent's got the Rakdos Mice, which is very scary. I think we can play Thundering Falls to see if we can find a green source. On a green source. And then before they use a pump spell or have multiple pump spells that they can chain together, let's just get rid of the Heartfire Hero so they can't pump it up and then sack it and throw it at our face. Nice thing with Deduce, it does leave these clues, so we can make a bunch of clues in a pinch. It also just means we gain 1 more life when we make these tokens. Roxanne is a card that I've wanted to kind of build around a bunch, as well as Ancient Cornucopia, and so I'm pretty happy with this deck so far. So I think we will definitely be challenged by this mono red deck. We can find a sweeper that would also be pretty good. Opponent exiles a scamp here. Getting double striked is not ideal, but not dead yet. It goes up to 4 power, 8 damage. Not going to be able to play out their scamp. Okay, this is very bad. I should have waited to play my land. Well, it's okay. I think we will be dead next turn, so we will not have to worry about it. See if our opponent actually has lethal. Could not find any of our green sources to start ramping or play out Roxanne to start pinging down their creatures, as well as couldn't find a single ill-timed explosion, which would have done a pretty good job of cleaning up the board, at least temporarily. Would have been dead. Probably still would have been dead if we had the ill-timed explosion there, because they had the slick shot show off and a bunch of other pump cells, but GG's. We have some early card draw, which is good. Not much early interaction. We don't have double blue for the counter spell, which is kind of annoying. I'm surprised at how often I don't have double blue. I'm playing so many duels. It's shocking how hard it is to get double pips in a tricolor deck. Opponent on the black discard, probably. It's okay. Yep, there's a discard spell. I will deduce in response to see if we draw something I can exile. That's a land. I don't mind doing that then. I tap one at that. Hopeless Nightmare means we're gonna have to discard. I think I have to get rid of the 4 common good. We can play the island, hold up a counter spell if they're gonna play like Liliana. Otherwise, we can draw a card. Okay. Bandit's Talent. Do I want to just counter that? It's no Liliana, but it is incredibly powerful. Okay, we'll play the Thornspire Verge. And then Ancient Cornucopia and draw a card. Actually, I could wait until their turn to draw a card. And if they play like a Liliana, we're not too concerned at this point, I don't think, because we have the Roxannes we want. When 4 mana open, they could drop down like a Shieldred, which would be pretty annoying. Okay, that's fine with us. We can shoot down the bat with our Roxanne. We don't draw a card before the trigger. Unless they have another bat, which would be kind of annoying. Roxanne can start gaining us life with, or will gain us life with the Cornucopia here. Oh, that's so good with Roxanne. Play this. Get a Roxanne back. Gain 2 life. Stems bleeding. I might hold on to the Spire Bluff Canal here. 2 damage to the Deep Cavern Bat. Now we're here to ramp. We have 1 Roxanne in hand. Hopefully they don't have multiple discard spells, and then we can 4 common good, a bunch of meteorites. Shoot down their tiny bones. Or I guess they're Liliana. 2 mana open, what could it be? They go for the discard, which is interesting considering they have tiny bones. Okay, cut down. So don't we just kind of stomp on them here? Okay, so the way it works, first I tell myself I don't need another land. Then I go to combat. I'll swing at this. It's going to create a meteorite when it attacks. I can kill Tiny Bones. And then I can kill Liliana. I can float all our mana. We have enough to do 3. And create 3 token copies of this and gain a bunch of life. It's a bit of damage to the face. and a bunch of mana for when we draw our next card. They can use their Ruthless Negotiation to draw another card here from their graveyard. But they're not going to get anything out of our hand. Bandit's Talent is pretty good. So I can start drawing them a bunch of cards. And we top deck a land. Just what we wanted. Right. What do we got? Just level up the Bandit's Talent to full, right? And then they start drawing cards at the beginning of their upkeep. Or draw step, I guess it says. We just need to top deck one good spell here, and then we should... we should get them. Or if they don't have a removal for this Roxanne, we're gonna just Meteorite them in the dome. They draw 2, so they should hopefully have, or they should likely have, an answer to our Roxanne. When it plays the land, do they have it? Just drawing a card. We did it. Let's go. Alright. This hand, we have some early interaction with Torch the Tower and a Braid, which is pretty good. Roxanne will definitely want that eventually. I think that's a keep. We do also have the Surveil, so hopefully we find some more lands here. And hopefully our opponent's not playing too fast in the deck. Let's see. At the balls. Okay. Opponent decided on their mulligan or whatever it was, and oh boy. Mono white, at least so far. Torch the Tower. Think we can keep that if we need to, like, get rid of a bunch of small things. Could be helpful, but still don't know what our opponent's playing here. 2 planes. Skrell's Hive. Okay, so they're probably on mono white tokens. Very grindy deck. Gonna be losing life to the Skrell's Hive. Tokens can't block, so we can swing past them if we can get something down. Opponent. Really don't want them resolving a Caretaker's Talent, because then they're gonna draw a card every single turn. Getting rid of the Might here, probably a mistake, because they could just sack it to Fountain Port and draw a card. They go for making another Knight here. Can abrade that, but probably should just Torch the Tower, because we'll get rid of it, and then we can hold the abrade for if they're playing like a Boros tokens and not mono white tokens. So then we can get rid of the Forge, whatever it's called. Another Hive, so they're going to be bleeding out here. I think we just want to hold up the 3 steps ahead. If they resolve a Caretaker Talent, they're going to be drawing a bunch of cards. Opponent. Okay. Passing. They get enough of these toxic, or we get enough of these poison counters, they will gain lifelink. Which is a little concerning. But we'll just have to go bigger. Get around all that extra life. Regal Bunnycorn is kind of annoying. I think what might do is I'll let them have it, but I'll bounce it so they have to recast it, so slowing it down a little, and then we'll go ahead and try and find another land drop. or a sweeper. 2 lands. I guess you can get rid of the tapped one, and then we can play Roxanne and start getting rid of some of the mites. I'll keep their bunnycorn a little bit smaller. It could still hold up negate though if they play down a caretaker's talent. They seem to be stuck on lands, so I'm surprised they haven't been sacrificing their mites to their fountain port. We'll just, I think we need to start ramping, because eventually when we draw one of our spells to make a bunch of token copies of our meteorites, that'll ramp us a bunch, especially because Roxanne has this effect where artifact tokens tap for additional mana. They do have the caretaker's talent, which is a bit annoying. Another land is nice, but not quite what we were kind of hoping for. That'll help us find what we want. Gotta keep these mites from accumulating to some degree, I feel like, but yeah, still baffled that I haven't been drawing with their mites if they've been stuck on lands like this. Attacking with Roxanne is also good because it makes another meteorite, so we're just ramping every single turn. And we're also kind of punching our opponent's face here. They're down to 9 life, but they're going to get lifelink here soon, so see what they do. Really need to dig for a way to copy our meteorite. They're down to 8 life, so we can finish them off pretty easily, but we also need to wait to stop them from gaining a bunch of life, because if they level up this caretaker's talent enough, these mites could get pretty big as well, and they would have lifelink, so that would be problematic. Roxanne, do we keep it? I think the answer is its effect is pretty nice because we can shoot down mites, and then we can also, it doubles up our artifact token mana, so I think we're going to keep it for now. And now our opponent's turn has been not super effective. Opponent going to create a copy of one of their mites. We can respond to that, and that will get rid of 2 mites with 1 abrade. Pretty nice. Just trying to slow our opponent down here. Not really exactly a perfect play, but anything to keep them from going too ham. Alright, I don't think I'm going to bargain, because I kind of like having the mana, and 4 I think can be deep enough. A braid and a land drop, because we already have another Roxanne. I don't think we need multiples. Invasion of Arcavios can find us pretty much anything from our deck to kind of win the game, so I think I kind of want to keep that on top, but it also is so much mana to do so. We'll go ahead and just draw and draw again. Land, that's okay. We'll go ahead and attack, bring them down to 4. We could send them down to 2, but I think it's better to get rid of a mite, because they managed to level up the talent. They go up to 3 power, and then we can't meteorite them down, and they're going to gain a bunch of life, so it effectively is more than 2 damage to their face, because we're preventing them from gaining 3 life potentially, or 1 life. So it averages out to roughly the same effect. Do they have another land? This is the grand question, because if they don't have another land, it get rough. 2 life. But yeah, first level, whenever token enters battlefield during a turn, draw a card only once, and then 1 white to make a token copy of a token, and then 4 to get your tokens to +2/+2. They run out the bunnycorn. That's not going to be enough here. Can't block, so I guess think we're perfectly fine then. To win the... Okay, that makes it pretty easy. We just top all our mana by pressing QQ. And we can make 5 meteorites. That should be enough. Gain a bunch of life, but then when they enter, they deal 2 damage to any target, and we just gotta click their face. Ow. We did it. We outground mono white. Alright, this hand seems pretty okay because we do have ramp on 3. 2 ways to ramp on 3. We have 3 steps ahead. Counter spell. More lands is probably not bad, so we can get the Roxanne down. On turn 4, opponent is lizards, which is not the fastest, which is nice. If they were like strictly mono red, maybe we would be in danger. The 2 mountains means they might be more mono red than we thought. It could be on like an O'Hare Axonil plan where that 1 damage turns into 4 from the Hired Claw. We could hold up the 3 steps ahead, but I think we just gotta get to this Roxanne so we can start pinging down their creatures and we can start gaining life with the Cornucopia. Swift Spear, pretty scary. Got their 1-drops. Monstrous Rage. We'll pump with the Heartfire Hero. Thankfully, they're out of mana to like fling it or anything like that. Or the Common Good is pretty nice because then we can make a bunch of copies of our meteorites. We'll gain 2 life here. We'll go ahead and get rid of Hired Claw, I guess, because it's guaranteed damage to our face. It may have been better to get rid of Swift Spear there. Alright. Does the opponent have... We can block the Heartfire Hero with the Roxanne, which is kind of nice, but... Lightning Strike, yeah, they can get rid of the blocker if they have that. Shock, that will bring us down to 3 life. I think we just go for the 4 Common Good to gain some life and get rid of some of their creatures. Could play like Overlord of the Hauntwoods, but that's not really good. Yeah, I think we just do this. We have enough mana to do it only twice though, which is one problem. Can hold up the negate, which is pretty nice. Probably should have not QQ'd and kept all our mana floated that way. We could probably tap them down afterwards. Did we get rid of the Heartfire Hero or the Swift Spear? Maybe get rid of the Heartfire Hero just so they can't pump it up even bigger and then sacrifice it. Brings us down to 4. We have 3 mana at the moment. We can hold up the negate though. I think that's the right move. Opponent has 2 cards in hand, so hopefully they're they're both lands or something. Oh, whoops. Okay, our opponent not doing anything. We'll just go to damage, I guess. Lightning Strike will not be able to finish us off because we will gain life and we can actually counter it, so doing okay at the moment. Ill-timed Explosion is a pretty good way of dealing with the creatures. Though it only gains us 2 life and we would have to discard cards. We could play the Overlord, but that only gains us 1 life and that uses the majority of our mana. Could hold up the 3 steps ahead and like make a copy of our Cornucopia or a Meteorite. I think we have enough. We have 8 mana, so we can use the entire 3 steps ahead, which is pretty good. Our pseudo sublime epiphany here. We'll go ahead and counter that, and then we can go ahead and use it all. Actually, we don't want the Cornucopia because we're trying to get rid of the Swift Spear at the same time, so we'll go with this and we'll create a copy of the Meteorite, and hopefully that will be enough to kill the Swift Spear. They could respond to it. a little unfortunate here. We do have to discard. I guess we can get rid of Deduce. Get rid of Swiss Spear, or try to. Okay, the Monstrous Rage. We can just bounce it back to their hand. Probably should have waited to do that until like combat, just in case they had another land drop or something like that. Roxanne, come out here, double up our mana, and makes a Meteorite and gains his life. So yeah, GG's. On to the next. Okay. Got early interaction, so depending on what our opponent, if like our opponent starts with a ley line, we can play out the Thornspire Verge. Otherwise, we can run out the Hedge Maze. White, Uneaten Feast, so life gain deck. Interesting. Commercial District. I think we're happy with lands because we want to get to our like 5 mana is the top of our curve. I'm pretty sure we want more mana than that to make a bunch of copies of things. Selecting Role Model. Probably want to get rid of that pretty early here, so I guess we'll run out the Thornspire Verge. We cannot use our 3 steps ahead until the following turn, so let's just hope our opponent doesn't have like a Caretaker's Talent or anything like that, but I mean they do have the Fountain Port, so they can draw cards that way. I gotta make a deck with a Fountain Port. That card is disgusting. Super good kind of token generators. It's so hard to interact with the land in most decks. Toby allows them to give their tokens flying if they have 4 or more, I believe. Their beast token cannot attack or block alone, which is something. I think we just hold up 3 steps ahead and pass the turn, and then next turn we can sweep. I don't think we have to do ill-timed explosion quite yet. And if they don't cast something that we want to counter, we can just deduce. Opponent. Looks like they're going for the Fountain Port. Yeah. Okay. So we probably will just end up deducing here to draw a card and make a clue. This thing with the clues is they do count as more tokens for the life gain as well as something to copy if in a pinch. Go ahead, deduce, draw, make a clue. Then I think we ill-timed explosion. We'll do that before we make our land drop, I think. We can figure out what we're drawing into. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Okay. We need to discard something big enough to kill the 4 toughness. We'll discard a land. We have plenty. And might as well play the Commercial District to surveil a little. Don't think we need another land. Opponent is gaining some life. Hopefully they never solve this case, because then they can recast things from their graveyard. Kobe makes another 4/4, getting them some life. Have another sweeper, but I don't know if we want to sweep yet. We can probably take one more hit and just chill. Really want to find something that we can start like cloning with our For the Common Good, as well as our 3 steps ahead. Probably pass, hold up Farsight Ritual and 3 steps ahead, or Farsight Ritual plus the clue. There's different options here. Just really don't want them resolving a Caretaker's Talent, because then things really get out of hand with the amount of card draw they get. They're currently paying a lot to use the Fountain Port, so it's not the fastest way of ending the game here. So they're not going to play anything, so we can Farsight Ritual. I don't know if we need to bargain off the clue token. Probably can just look at the top 4. I think that's deep enough. Want to hold us 3 steps up ahead, 3 steps ahead instead of using it to draw and discard here, just because. All right, Ancient Cornucopia. That's what we wanted. No 3 steps ahead can't hurt. Go ahead, draw another card. Full grip. No lands, okay. I guess we can play out a Cornucopia and pass, or sweep rather. Yeah, don't really want to die. Gain 2 life. Don't mind if I do. Opponent sacrificing one of their things. Think we still sweep. We'll see. Yeah, we can discard probably a Farsight Ritual. And then I don't know if we need another Cornucopia, to be honest. Because it is 3 mana just to ramp 1. Probably get rid of that as well. Make our land drop here. Alright. Surviving slowly by slowly, accruing land drops and such. Dollmaker's Shop, that's scary because that can pump the board a bunch. Reluctant Role Model, that can grow over time. Another ill-timed explosion. I guess we had... what do we want to do? Hold up the whole 3 steps ahead if you really want. I don't think we want an ill-timed explosion, just 2 things. So I think we wait 1 turn here. Opponent gaining some life here. Very scared of this Dollmaker's Shop because that could get out of hand very fast. Make a 1/1 whenever they attack. It's like a Crater Hoof. Creatures you control have base power and toughness equal to the number of creatures you control. I wonder if you can counter that, the unlocking of the door though. Because it's already on the battlefield, but like... And it... So is it kind of like a spell on the stack? I don't know. Well, guess we'll go ahead and make a copy of our Cornucopia and we can start trying to go off that way. They do got quite the board here, so we'll probably have to sweep next turn. We can do a little digging and start making some tokens. Problem is they have a bunch of mana up here, so I'm kind of scared. Are they gonna get rid of the Cornucopia? That's a question. That's one reason we might want to not fork the common good, just in case they Do we need another 3 steps ahead? We already have 1 more in hand. I think we pitch it. Alright. 2 lands. I guess we play the commercial district since it's tapped anyways, and it's a little surveil, but I think, do we have to sweep here? I think probably should force them to do something. Because with the mana open, I really don't want to forward the common good and try and make a bunch of copies of a Cornucopia here. So, go ahead and gain 4. Looks like they will be fountain porting. So maybe we'll have... Oh, they still have 2 mana open, so they could respond. Gain some life. Opponent's at 27, which is a little brutal. Start a land. Do we really care about sweeping? I think we still want, because they could unlock the Dollmaker Shop, and we don't know if we have an answer to that, so I think we do have to get rid of their board. Role Model has nothing to put its counters on, which is good here. The commercial district, do a little surveilling, and we can hold up 3 steps ahead again. A braid that can destroy like their artifact creatures and stuff, but I don't really think we want to go 1-for-1 like that. I think we just hold up the 3 steps ahead. Pass the turn. Opponent. They have the mana to unlock the Dollmaker's Shop, so maybe we can counter it here, but find out. They don't go for it. I guess we can Farsight Ritual then. Not gonna bother bargaining. Don't think it's entirely necessary. I mean, if we were at the edge of dying, I would be inclined. Okay, that is a very nice response to the Dollmaker shop. And instant speed at that. So we can, I'm pretty happy with that. That will allow us to hold up only 1 mana to deal with the Dollmaker shop, which is good. Need to find a Roxanne. Because we can make a bunch of copies of the Cornucopia. Okay. There we go. We can make a bunch of copies of the Cornucopia, but that's only going to gain us a bunch of life. It's not really going to finish off our opponent here. Because we hold up the full 3 steps ahead and see what happens. Opponent are ramping here. Interesting. They get their might for their turn. Okay. Make a doll. They haven't leveled up the Dollmaker shop, which is interesting. I don't know why they're avoiding it. They have like a bunch of mana open. I guess we will just if they're not gonna do anything, we might as well just keep on making copies, ramping, drawing, whole sort. Why not gain the life? Roxanne is pretty nice. We have enough lands. And then yeah. Clean up the board here. Prevent them from like killing us with a Dollmaker shop. Or we can just run out Roxanne and smite one of them and just chill. May as well gain us a bunch of life. You can also just use it to draw 2 cards. Which we might just end up doing here. Okay. Fine. Gain the life. See what we draw into. Yeah, we're not. I don't think we need to sweep. Roxanne can deal with one of the mites, and then they're down to 1. And that will also double up the mana that we get from our copied cornucopias. Which is quite nice. Access to a ton of mana. I think we just hold up for a turn. Can play out another cornucopia. We can hold up Deduce and into the Flood Maw and just chill for a turn, and then we can just for the common good into for the common good. That should do us a bunch. Would really like a negate though. If they could answer us trying to copy the Meteorite, that would be bad. So being able to have a negate. We have one in the deck, one in the sideboard. We haven't used it. It's not in our graveyard, so. Lay down arms. That's fine. We'll use our additional mana right now with the Roxanne bonus for tokens. So draw a card. See what we find. Okay, that's fine. Land drop. I don't know if it's really what we need, but we're still alive. And we have another Roxanne. Okay. Really don't want them solving this case just so they can get a bunch of their stuff back. They're also gaining so much life. It's going to take so many meteorites. Okay, it's kind of annoying, but I think it's also really good because it means they're tapped out. So we can go through with kind of what we want to do here. Invasion of Arcavios can find us anything we want here. Oh my goodness. This is pretty good. Roxanne. Yep, I think we generate mana from playing this, or it helps us quite a bit. So go ahead, play it, gain, I don't know, 8 life, just a bit. And where do we want to set the meteorite damage? I don't know. It's really hard to count, so I think we can just go for lethal here. I don't know. QQ, we have 13 mana, so I can make 6 copies, I believe, of our meteorites. And then those are going to enter untapped, and they're going to tap for 2 mana. Thanks to Roxanne. Do we want to just send them face? I don't know if we have lethal or not, but we'll just send them face for now. Now, I think it will take us another turn, so maybe we should sweep the board with the meteorites. Tap all of that. That's 12, so we can only make 5 here. Make a copy of the meteorite, and we're going to gain a bunch of life because we have a bunch of meteorites. Or a bunch of tokens. Yeah, I think we gotta get rid of these just in case they have or they want to flip the dollhouse, and this would cause them to gain a bunch of life, so I think it's worth. Our Innocence does its whole become an enchantment thing, that's fine. And I think we just hold up into the Flood Maw, and then we can pour the common good for a bunch of mana next turn. I think there's a chance we could have just won if we like doppelganged here at some point. Just like Invasion of Arcavios, get doppelgang. Because the thing with doppelgang is for each X you get that many tokens, or like it makes a bunch of tokens, and then those tokens tap for 2 mana with Roxanne, so I think there's a chance that we could have gone like pseudo infinite or infinite, but that's too much thinking. We're just gonna chill for a turn. I don't think they'll have a response to our board here, so I think we'll be okay. Farewell is no longer in standard, so we can rejoice about that. They're gonna get rid of Roxanne, which is a little sad, but hopefully our doppelgang will resolve. I don't think we need to use the mana beforehand. Hopefully our doppelgang will resolve if they remove one of the meteorites. Because it has X targets. If they remove one of the targets, does it fall apart? I don't think so. Opponent making a copy of their beastie, or their beast. So now all their tokens are flying. They attack. Oh, that's a toy, so they don't get a toy from their doll maker shop. They're all out of white mana, so we don't have to worry about a thing. We can just go ahead and press QQ and make 10 meteorites and finish our opponent off there. Classic meteorite shower in MTG. You gotta watch out. You gotta watch out. Never know when the stars are gonna start falling. 89 life, and then we just click on their face. Oh my goodness. We just accrue so much mana over the course of these turns. It's kind of ridiculous. What is our opponent to do? And 89-1. GG. I think that's gonna do it. Alright, well, that is going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. This is the deck. If you did enjoy, consider subscribing. I think there are advantages to Doppelgang, and I'm glad that we have access to it in our sideboard, but For the Common Good has a lot of potential here, especially if you're going ahead and creating like token copies of creatures. I think there's opportunities there, but it also just like gaining the life seems pretty useful. But yeah, you can make token copies with like 3 steps ahead and other things, and then kind of go from there. But using it to just make a bunch of land artifacts is pretty good. Yeah, then the sideboard, of course, we have Doppelgangs that we can copy the invasion with and kind of go off that way. The old-fashioned kind of doppelgang nonsense. But yeah, this deck I'm really happy with. I've been trying to, or wanting to, put together like an Ancient Cornucopia style deck, so yeah. If you enjoyed it, consider checking out the previous video where we played a Temur combo using Marina Vendrell's Grimoire, which is the whole thing that if you have less than 0 life, you don't lose the game, but you when you gain life, you draw cards. When you lose life, you discard cards. We found a way to make it into a 1-turn kill combo, so yeah, check it out. Anyways, have a nice morning, evening, night, afternoon, or wherever, and when you're watching, ciao.